It's party time, Mom. It's Monday, which means there's a lot to get into, obviously. And we're going to do that. But I got to show you guys something. Listen, my work wife is so good. Sara Gonzales. It's almost gone now. For those of you, some of you know, I'm back doing the keto thing. I got to lose this weight. It's so... Sarah brought me and cooked me bacon.
I did.
Sara Gonzales, look at you.
Golf clap for that, right?
I'm just trying to keep you on track.
Yeah.
Like a good work wife should.
You are. My God. Now, that's the most jerky piece that I'm chewing.
Oh, of course.
That one just break apart. Now the show started. Craig, Sawman Sawyer is on the couch as well. Welcome back to the show. Glad you're here.
Also golf clap.
Thank you, Chad. It's good to be back on with you.
All right, I'm going to swallow that bacon. I'm going to be good. All right, let's get right into this thing. You have uncovered some stuff. Veterans for Child Rescue. At your organization, you've been doing this thing for a long time. You're tip of the spear. You're former Navy. You're a former Marine. I don't know if you have former Marines.
No,
You're
they
always
say once a Marine, always a Marine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but you got out of that. Well, you had a shoulder deal, and then you got out of the Marines, and then you went back in for this unheard of thing called the SEALs.
I had to do it.
Yeah, and so you've seen some things in life. But now you're still seeing some things, and you got involved with this child trafficking stuff a number of years ago. First of all, let's go back, because it's been a while since you've been on the show. How did you start the organization? How's the organization doing? And then I want to get into what you've uncovered here recently.
Yeah, it was a friend of mine from the CIA down just north of Houston that had grown up in the area that I had, and he said, Craig, this area has become the hottest epicenter for child trafficking in the United States. And I couldn't reconcile that with our culture there. I'm like, how can that be?
Yeah.
And coming from the covert background, I realized that it is an industrial scale covert operation inside the United States, domestic operation at covert scale. And the reason it thrives is because we, the people, are uninformed on it. And so I decided to compromise the enemy's mission. In other words, expose it, ruin their top cover of security and secrecy under which they operate with impunity, take that away from them, and rally the people against it so that we can just turn our culture back to one that's protective of children rather than abusive.
Yeah.
And so I realized that if you want to change the culture, media is a big tool to do that. So I set out to make a documentary film and rally the funding to do that, and big tech censored and squashed our ability to fundraise. So I founded a nonprofit organization, Veterans for Child Rescue, to rally the money, to make the documentary film, to alert the populace so that we would all understand what's going on, so we could better defend our children.
How far up into the upper echelons of society does this child trafficking ring, and the knowledge of it, the exercise of it, and just the practice of it? How far does it go?
Yeah, well, it goes all the way to the top. I mean, literally all the way to the top. If you look at the global power brokers, I'm talking about the people that move trillions around from central bank to central bank.
Yeah.
This seems to be a core aspect of their culture. And if you look at the Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell intelligence gathering operations, where they invite targeted public officials and public figures down to their islands, their resorts, their mansions, and have these parties where there's every manner of hookers and blow, and these derelicts in these official positions follow their nose, and next thing you know, they're up in some back bedroom having sex with a child, and it's all on camera. The whole house is wired because it's a collection operation. And then that person is compromised and works for whoever holds that video of them instead of we, the tax-paying citizens. So it goes all the way to the top, and there's a lot of money being made. It was 38 to 50 billion they estimated before we abandoned our border, and they say now it may be as high as 90 or 100 billion dollars a year.
Yeah.
Trafficking children inside of the United States.
Let's put a comma right there, because I want to come back to that. Sarah. Okay, so it's been a week now since you've uncovered the latest family-friendly drag deal. And there'll be people, the Riris out there, who are going to say, oh, you're going to jump from child trafficking to family-friendly drag. Yeah, I am, actually, because, again, why are we as a society making all of this stuff as palatable as possible when you see the extreme of what it leads to? This is sort of a gateway drug in some ways of the destruction of the nuclear family. First of all, how much blowback are you getting still a week later
Quite a bit.
Nothing's died down, right?
No, nothing's died down. And it's all like blue anon conspiracy theories that I'm making it up. I'm lying. I'm like, so you think that this is a deep fake video, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Clearly children there. But yeah, look, the left gets very mad when you expose them for what they are and you expose what their true intentions are, which are to sexualize our children.
Yeah.
They've made that very, very clear time and time again in the schools, at home, everywhere.
Yeah.
So they get, as I'm sure Craig knows, they get very, very upset.
Craig said something earlier when we were talking out in the hall. He said, if you're not doing anything bad, why do you worry about it being exposed? Well, if you're not doing anything in the darkness, then why are you scared of the light?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've been threatened with defamation suits, all of these different things. It's like, okay, look, if you're not trying to hide anything, well, then why are you trying to hide it? Because they all say, well, you exposed so-and-so. Well, okay.
Yeah. The most telling one to me was when I had people go in undercover at the Katy, Texas drag show at the church. This was a church who was putting this on.
Yeah.
And the church threatened everyone once they were in there, if they got out their cell phones, that they would be removed because there was no photos or video. And imagine that.
Right.
A church. If you have nothing to hide, you're a church of all places. Why in the world would you tell people they are not allowed to have their phones out?
What are you ashamed of?
Exactly. Yeah. And then, of course, one of our guys didn't keep his phone in his pocket. He did actually record some stuff, and it was that they didn't want people to know that they had
significant stuff.
Yeah, they had chest binders and not telling, kids' parents that they were helping them transition. So really evil stuff.
Yeah. Well, you have some hashtags you showed me on your phone. Can you pull those up?
Yes, sir.
You got that deal? I want you to.
Forrest, can I get that
come over
cell
here.
phone?
It's okay. We're good. I want you to see what social media, Instagram and all that, and Twitter is banning, Sarah, when it comes to hashtags. If you're making a post and you make a hashtag, he's got a list on his phone that'll blow your mind. Really? And read those out loud, Sarah.
Child trafficking awareness, child trafficking, child sex trafficking, end child trafficking, protect children, protect our children, protect the children, save our children from pedophiles, save the children, stop child trafficking, stop child abuse. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Instagram and Facebook have disabled and banned all of these hashtags. And anytime there's a new hashtag that has to do with safeguarding the little ones, Instagram and Facebook ban and disable those hashtags. So you and I and others cannot link on that subject and find a network and learn more about it.
Yeah.
Look, I don't care what their excuse is. Stop child abuse.
Right.
They can't defend banning that. There's no defense for that.
That is unbelievable.
So they've already taken things like the word groomer, and you can't use that on social media. I mean, we live in a world where you can't even post that picture of Hunter Biden in his underwear without getting, a Facebook ban on that thing. So I've just started painting it and putting the pictures of the painting up there. I got a weird, it's weird. I'll show you after this, Craig.
You don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it, but I'm going to show you.
He's going to show you anyway, but you don't want to see it.
You're going to see it's going to be nightmare.
It can't be unseen.
I've been painting. You can't who is it, Hunter? I don't know. I mean, it depends on how good my art is. But how long before the word predator is going to be banned? You won't even be able to use that word, right? Yeah. It's going to be bad.
It's an ugly time when safeguarding the innocent is not allowed, and which is essentially what we're watching happen. It's playing out.
Yeah.
They're trying to prevent us from safeguarding the defenseless.
Yeah. Well, look, if you'll kill the unborn, which is the most innocent among us, then what's next on that? And then again, they're going to take those that are voiceless, those that can't fight for themselves, can't defend themselves, and those are the ones they're going to go after. That's a targeting. I mean, I'm just glad we live in Texas where none of this stuff happens. None of this is going on in the state of Texas, right? I mean, you just uncovered something with transportation via airplanes. What happened?
Yes, sir. A friend of mine, Boz, he was a CIA paramilitary operator for a number of years, and he was a Marine Corps captain before that. He runs another organization, and they've started investigating the aspect of the government chartered aircraft that are flying the children out of southern Texas, Laredo, Harlingen, and flying them to other states, deep into the United States. in the dark of night and past the hours of the cutoff for those airfields. It's illegal to land past midnight in some of these, and they land at 3 a.m. on an aircraft chartered by tail numbers that are registered to companies that have been out of business for years.
Wow. With
the contents of that aircraft listed as cargo instead of souls, and then children are brought off and put into private vehicles and smuggled off the airfield at 3 a.m. And when the press secretary is asked about it, she says, well, we're talking about flights that might be earlier than we would like to take, but that doesn't suggest any wrongdoing. What about the illegal tail numbers? What about the companies that charter to intelligence agencies flying these flights? What about the illegal registrations? What about the illegal times? What about the illegal registration of the contents? Yeah. You can't call souls cargo on an aircraft. That's not legal to do. So why the covert Mena Airfield, Arkansas narcotics drop style operation if this is an honest, good faith effort to restore children with their biological parents?
Yeah.
Begs a question.
It does beg the question. And if you ask the question, you're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be, you're a conspiracist. I mean, all these different things. What do we do to expose this? How do we further expose it? What does that say? Is that a 4 on that clock up there?
Yes.
I can't see because your mic.
Well,
how do we further expose this?
I think with the mainstream media hiding it and social media laundering censorship for the cabal, squashing it whenever we share it, we've got to move to the newer, alternate, more free social media platforms, word of mouth, and just old school. I was talking to my team last night. We were sitting around a fire. I'm like, you know what? Americans don't do this enough anymore. Sit around the fire and just be and just communicate.
Yeah.
We're so bombarded 24/7 with media. Our bandwidth is maxed, and we don't feel like we have the capacity to pay attention to the defenseless.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty convenient
and
for the predators.
Right under our nose.
Yes, sir.
100% right under our nose.
I think too that there is a certain part of people who they don't want to believe that something that horrible is happening, and so they hear about it, but they just shut down.
100%. Here's what I get a lot. I just can't go there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, my God, folks, the children are there.
Right.
We're the adults.
Right.
If we can't go there, where does that leave the children that are in harm's way right now?
Yeah.
Come on, grow up.
I remember.
That's my
I remember
thought.
my first time I ever went to Africa, and I was in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, and I was like,
was just there the other day.
I came back and I said, I was telling a friend of mine who was in seminary. I was telling my friend, I said, and I saw some wild stuff. I said, the only thing I can describe it as is it being truly demonic, right? It just the manifestations and the supernatural aspect of the things I saw. I mean, it was happening in children like 2 years old. You can't get a 2-year-old to fake demonic oppression, right? You can just in manifestations. You can't. It's not going to happen. And this was wild stuff. And I came back and I was telling my friend the story, and he goes, "Demons, huh?" And this is a guy in seminary. He goes, "Yeah, they got that over there, don't they?" And I'm like,
wow.
They're here. But the deception of it all is the point I'm trying to make. Of you go, oh yeah, that happens there.
Somewhere else.
It happens somewhere else. That doesn't happen in South Texas. That doesn't happen on I-45 between Houston and Dallas, right? It doesn't happen in those places. That's exactly where it's happening.
Yeah.
Now, if a couple checks into a hotel on I-45, that big corridor from South Texas to North Texas, if you stop, say, random town, Fairfield, Texas, you check into a hotel, there's a lady there with you. They actually are instructing people working at the desk now to ask questions. Where are you from? Are y'all together? Are you here? Did you just meet today? That kind of thing.
God bless them for it.
Yeah, because they know that main artery for trafficking, sex trafficking, children, the whole thing. It's crazy because it's happening. It's epidemic.
One of the young ladies that we rescued helped us craft a what to look for in child trafficking victims surrounding Super Bowl, Formula One racing, these events. We do geofencing operations, means we send text messages to everybody within a certain radius of that event saying, warning, be on the lookout. It's a high trafficking event. Here's a link of what to look for and how to report it.
Yeah.
And we're like, give us the inside scoop of the best things they can look for. She was brilliant. So the team was going, man, she's smart. I'm like, yeah, she's good. She's lived it. She knows. And so it's a privilege to do that and to see other people. Yeah. The hotel, the travel industry, paramedics. Yeah. Our medical, a lot of these people need and deserve to be trained on what to look for and how to kind of rescue the little ones out of it.
We're going to talk about some ways for folks to get involved, but and we'll talk about some other stuff too that maybe not so heavy. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it'll just be a heavy show. You made allusion to other social media platforms, and it seems like right now that you're hearing about new social media platforms popping up almost weekly. But I'm noticing some interesting patterns. Most of these new platforms are being funded outside the U.S., some by China, Getter, and Truth. Those are good examples, and most are only setting themselves up to be political-only platforms instead of appealing to the broad interests of most Americans. There's a new one you may have heard of this doing things a bit differently. It's called True Patriot Network, TPN for short. They're fully founded and funded within the USA. They own their own private servers. They don't sell your data or use bots to grow their followers. They support American values, and they're not interested in canceling anyone's opinions. I'm not telling you to give up your Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, but it's time to start supporting an American-owned social media company. Let's help True Patriot Network blow up. You can get TPN at just go to gettpn.com/Chad and download the app right now. It's free. Feel free to post about yours truly while you're there. Post pictures of me, whatever. Again, that's gettpn.com/Chad. Gettpn.com/Chad. We'll be right back. Sara brought me Costco bacon, and it's delicious. I didn't know such a thing existed. It was like pre-cooked.
Yeah, it's fully cooked bacon, and you can just heat it up. It says it's microwavable, but I don't want to. I'm not going to microwave the bacon, but I put it in the oven.
You've done keto for years.
Yeah.
Right? You like it?
Yeah. Why do you think I had that bacon?
It took me forever. Years ago, it took me forever to get convinced because Party Foul Steve, he was on keto. He lost like 30 pounds. He kept it off, and he lived a keto lifestyle, right? Yeah. I was like, no way that's good for you. And I don't know. I think if you do it wrong, like if you mess it up,
right,
and you start playing with that plan, you can get yourself in trouble. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I went back on it. I just do well when I'm traveling all the time. I do well with that, and so I'll have people who'll send messages saying, "Don't do keto," whatever. It beats tequila and pastries. I can tell you that, because I had a steady diet of that for years. Right? Yeah. McDonald's and tequila and whiskey.
I tell you, I knew I was back in Texas this morning when I had cornbread and brisket for breakfast.
Dude, I'm telling you. We've got a show tomorrow night in Lindale, Texas at a music hall there. The name of it is Brisket Love. And we're going to be, so if you're in Lindale, if you're in East Texas, come hang out with us. We're doing a kind of a special one-off show there at Brisket Love. That's Miranda Lambert's place. I think it's Miranda's. And anyway, you got that picture of Hunter that I painted? Slap it up there real quick. I want to show everybody. There he is. Can you see him right there? Look at that. I mean, that is art.
That's unsettling art, though.
That is, I painted that. I scribbled it. I was actually in my pool a couple of weeks ago, and I scribbled it out and painted it. And I'm auctioning it off. It's on my Facebook right now. Letting people take bids. Most people are offering Monopoly money. Most people are paying me to keep it. They don't want to attract roaches into the house. And I'm calling this art. The name of that picture is called Banned, because I was going to call it High as Hunter, but you can't say anything about Hunter or you'll get banned on social media, which is dumb, but that's what happens. And it's crazy. This just pure insanity that you'll get banned for something like that. So anyway, I think the bids are up to a couple $100 right now.
I like that you're trying to skirt the system.
Yeah. Well, people say, oh, talk about living rent free in your head. I'm like, okay, whatever. I love to troll these people. I love to make fun of them.
And that's the thing, is that they are actually very triggered by Donald Trump, anything about him. I mean, they're constantly, think about how many memes they have in their camera roll of just, crapping all over Donald Trump and Republicans. You're doing this for your own personal amusement. It's like we're not bothered by it. It doesn't upset you. You're just doing it for your own personal amusement to troll them.
No, I literally enjoy it.
Yeah.
And now I don't like the direction the country's going because of the Biden family and the Biden administration. That's horrible when you really look at the fact that that guy doesn't know Joe doesn't even know when he's on stage or who he's talking to. And I don't know, maybe he's at that point where his toes are over the precipice of death and he can see into the nether regions of eternity and he's already talking to ghosts. I don't know what's going on in that guy's head, but he's not all there. We're going to get more into Joe probably tomorrow night, but because we had some fantastic little clips from the weekend. How do people become heroes, Craig? How do they become heroes? How do people get involved and they actually put their foot down and say, enough's enough, we're going to do something about this? How do they help?
Man, there's any of a number of ways, and it's only really limited to each person's imagination. You can share our documentary, Contraland. It's powerful. Yeah. We showed it to a group of high net worth individuals out at Executive Outdoor Adventures this weekend, and they were touched and blown away. And the more people that see it and are aware, the more we can vote for our best interest and the best interests of our children. And you could share things like that. You go to our website and see how to get involved. Just word of mouth. Let people know, hey, our children are being groomed and they're being set up to be easy victims of a trauma that they either may not survive or they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to get healing and recovery from. And it's just ugly and destructive.
And it is. It's so bad that you go all the way from quote unquote family friendly drag shows to the trafficking, to the discussion of transgender issues in the name of acceptance and inclusivity, to having transition closets available in the school, in the classroom, to the discussions of homosexuality. You have kids who are already dealing with identity issues, so they're easily vulnerable. You have kids that are feeling rejection, and so maybe the homosexual lifestyle is for me. And people say, well, that's not happening. It actually does happen.
Yeah,
it does. It actually does happen. It's a proven fact, and the fact that we want to sweep that under the rug and not do anything about it, I do encourage people. Anytime this conversation comes up, and it seems like it's coming up more and more, I encourage people to follow guys like you and, of course, Jakub Boyens, and I always push them towards Contraland, and I say, talk to the guys who are on the front lines dealing with this stuff and really facing this stuff and are suited up and in the fight. I push them towards Sara. I'm like, she's becoming a subject matter expert and a resource in so many of these things, and I say becoming, you are, but I mean, it's. I love the fact that, and by the way, I've been like fangirling on you, Sara, for the last week, because
it was
the bacon. I was like, this girl's been on Tucker Carlson, she's on Laura Ingraham Wednesday night, and she's bringing me bacon. Like, I got it like that. That's some redneck stuff.
Yeah.
But good hit on Tucker.
Thank you.
Last week.
I appreciate that.
Good interview with Chris Salcedo on his show. And just so many of these different ones you've been doing. So.
Yeah, I did Michael Berry this morning.
Yeah. He let you talk?
He did. He had me on for 2 segments.
All right.
So I guess he liked me.
Nice.
What she's doing is powerful because it's moral courage, and that's what our society needs now. Our populace has been beat down with this political correctness and this cry bullying from the other side that you can't speak the truth. They own all the airwaves, and they own all the social media and all the censorship and all of it. And people are demoralized and they're losing hope. And when they see even somebody like my daughter stand up and speak the truth with moral conviction and authority, it rattles them awake like, yes, that's right. That's how we are to be.
Right.
Why are we ever afraid to speak the truth?
Right.
Yeah.
And your moral courage shines through and people are inspired from that. That's why it matters. Yeah. And it starts to resonate. And then other people go, well, I can speak the truth too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can and you should.
People forget their own power. They give it away to all of these social media companies and all. They just think like, oh, well, I can't do anything. I'm just me. And they forget that especially when it comes to issues like yours and mine, that there's much more than 50% of the country, I would venture to guess, that would agree with what you're doing and what I'm doing. They just forget that they are the majority. And so they don't want to speak up. And I think that they have to be reminded, like, you guys, it takes all of us, and there is strength in numbers as long as we're all doing our part.
Yeah. And I'll say this, I'm going to clarify something. I'm going to make 2 points. One, I want to clarify that you talk about, you have these people in schools, whatever, talking to kids about this lifestyle or that lifestyle. If you're talking to them about sex at all, it's wrong, right? We for years talked about the teacher that slept with the student, right? And now there's the mugshot on, and the whole thing. And we've like, that's horrible. That's horrendous and stuff like that. We've talked about that. We've condemned that. We're condemning all of it across the board. But here's the thing that I encourage people with, and that goes to your point, Sarah, is a lot of people look at, Craig Sawyer. They look at Sawman. They look at Sara Gonzales, and they say, yeah, they're somebody, and they can make a difference. No, they got to be, quote, somebody by making a difference. That's the thing. And it ain't about being somebody. It's about the more you do and the more you expose and the more you stand for truth, God may just give you a platform that's a little bit bigger than you expected. Sarah, you got thrust into some limelight in the last 2 weeks that you didn't necessarily
did not expect.
Want or expect. And you don't shy away from it, certainly, but, you didn't do it for the fame.
Right.
You didn't do it for the recognition.
Right.
And I've known you've been doing this for a long time now. And so I look at it and it's like, okay, well, you're finding favor in this day and you're getting the grace to get a bigger and bigger platform with it. And that's what's happening because, you give it a little bit. You're a good, faithful steward with what you've got. And all of a sudden it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what's happening.
It's beautiful. God empowers the willing.
Yeah.
So you've stepped up and you've spoken up and you've taken action, and God says, I'm going to bless that.
Yeah, and she's still got a servant heart, too, because she brings me bacon. And I'm telling you, man, you laugh about that. That's powerful right there. That's servant spirit, man, I'll tell you. And all the crap she puts up with from me, she's just tired of looking at my fat ass. Like, golly.
Do something about that, right?
She's tired of hearing me complain.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Tired of hearing me complain.
You will stick to this keto diet.
I'm going to. I'm gonna get skinny. Dallas Buyers Club. I'm gonna get skinny.
No.
I am. I want people to just come at me and be like, "What are you doing? Stop."
AIDS?
Maybe.
Are you okay?
Yeah. What are you doing, man?
Give that boy a burger.
Are you back on drugs? Good Lord, have mercy. I want to be like Dylan Mulvaney. I want to be that skinny. Ugh. You seen that kid? Well, we'll talk about that on Joe Biden, and we got to go to a break, but Joe Biden just brought him to the White House to have a conversation about trans rights. I mean, we're on the verge of nuclear war. We're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to the Ukraine. We got all this stuff going on in the world, child trafficking, open borders, drag shows for kids, and what are we going to do? We're going to bring in a TikTok, 110-pound guy that dresses like a girl and hear what he has to say about the world to the president. All right, hang on. All right, listen, if you want to know the left's real plan and what it is for your kids, all you got to do is look at the reaction that folks like Patriot Mobile get. Because you know what? They go out and they do work in a lot of the different school districts in Texas. They expose a lot of stuff. They support a lot of things, your values, and they're trying to fight back against this crazy system that's going after your kids. All you got to do is look at the reaction to what companies like Patriot Mobile do, and you'll see the left is losing their minds. Now, Patriot Mobile, and you've heard me talk about them, they are America's only Christian conservative mobile phone provider. They're a force for conservative values. They take a portion of every bill you pay, and they fund conservative causes and the candidates who believe in the sanctity of life, freedom of speech, Second Amendment, and guess what? They're winning. Now, Patriot Mobile has affordable plans for you, your family, even your business. They offer the same nationwide coverage as the major carriers because they use all of them same networks. Plus, you're supporting conservative values with every call. So go to patriotmobile.com/Chad or call them, 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation with offer code CHAD. I spell it, Chad. Special discounts are available for the veterans and first responders out there. So join the movement, make the switch, and make a difference. patriotmobile.com/Chad or give them a call, 972-PATRIOT. We'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. It's that time in the show where I must attempt to wax eloquent. First, they came for the omnisexuals, and I said nothing, for I was not an omnisexual. Then they came for the abrosexuals, and again I said nothing, for I was not that either. And then they came for the aciflux, the demigender, the trigender, the gray sexual, the two-spirit, the pangender, and again, I said nothing, for I was none of those things. But then, oh God, the day arrived when they came for the maverick, and I cried out for help, but there were none left to help me. All the non-males and non-females were gone, and I was left at the mercy of cisgendered people. Dear gods and goddesses who strangely are male and female gendered only, save me. Folks, it's come to my attention that in the broad and ever-broadening world of gender, that Microsoft, in its infinite and holy wisdom, has decided that the LGBTQIA+ pride flag will now represent, wait for it, 40 different downtrodden communities. Yes, the multicolored flag, which once stood for the bigotry and hatred of the gay and lesbian community and their clear exclusion of all members of the trans community. Now that flag stands for something special, something real, something called for in our time. That's right. This is a flag specifically designed to keep growing in its design, showing off the unity that we can attain when we all subdivide ourselves into whichever colorful spot lights up for us on the intersectional identity pinwheel. It represents the eternal entropy of individualism whilst paradoxically fracturing the people it represents into tinier and tinier factions of fatuous identity. It's the digital fabric equivalent of turning an ADHD-riddled kid loose with a label maker. In short, it's perfect. Chris, show us that flag, won't you please? Dadgummit, Chris, this is not the time to make fun. Just because this flag looks like what you used to see after the TV station went off the air at the end of the night doesn't mean we have to make fun of it. Just because it looks like someone stepped on your phone right at the moment you were getting to the really good part of the tentacle hentai video doesn't mean you got to poke fun. Incidentally, Poke Fun was the name of the tentacle hentai video I was watching. The transgender community is beset upon all sides, folks. The very nature of reality itself pushes up against its edges. Nature abhors a vacuum, and there are very few things in the universe more vacuous than non-existent things trying their damnedest to exist. So here at last, Microsoft gives us a broken field of dreams to represent that great field of broken dreams, a kinetic kaleidoscope of love and acceptance, a sharp and jagged fruited plane. Folks, in all honesty, they've swayed me. Keep it coming, Microsoft. We're standing on the precipice of quantum computing, so we can't be far off from reaching infinite memory storage. You can make this thing as big and diverse as you want and screw the inconsistencies and outright contradictions. You, oh transgender community, are not so slowly refashioning the world in your own image, and it looks exactly like this. There is no discernible pattern, no direction in which your movement goes except for the ever-expanding and utopic fractal set. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a form of tyranny that is perhaps more dangerous than any other, and that is the tyranny of mind that seeps into the floating neurons of those who would subjugate and immiserate themselves in the search for some feeling, some spiritual salve on the other side when you've walked through the raging fires of self-created and self-perpetuated victimhood. Tender are the feelings indeed of those for whom this flag stands, and you have to imagine it won't be more than 5 or 10 minutes before someone raises an arm high into the air, wafting pit fumes out of the world and claiming that their marginalized group is not represented by the Microsoft flag. No worries, Microsoft will say. We made it modular so you can add your distinct group to the flag. Wait, you expect me to do work? Whatever could be more triggering than that. Look, I'm sure one of these days the LGBTQIA+ community will come after me and try to cancel my... There it is, folks. There it is. We made it work, Jennings. Kayla. Oh, boy, howdy. Good work on the directorship of this show. Are you represented on the flag, Sarah?
I don't really know.
I don't
think so.
Is there a freak flag out there in the tyranny of the trannies?
I'm sure there is a freak flag. It's not
there
mine.
It is. There's the flag Microsoft came up with.
It is just so hideous.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, right?
Well, it does because it's completely chaotic, which is how they've intentionally planned for it to be.
Yeah. Craig, have you come out yet in any way, shape, or form? Do you have an identity?
You know, I'm struggling with it, Chad. All these new options I'm trying to figure out.
Like, it's work, right? I mean, everything from the dadgum pronoun thing to the gender thing. I don't know. It's like, I feel sorry for these people. And I said these people.
We got to realize it's a weapon. It's a psychological weapon of warfare, demoralization and destabilization. And that's all it is. And of course, you were eloquent, by the way. You did very, very well. I could have never gotten through that. But it's intended. And we have to realize what it is and that it is ridiculous and call it what it is. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you're hateful. That you don't want to see people psychologically lost and miserable because they're not connected to reality and find a healthy, productive life. So everybody's welcome to be what they are, but you don't have to. I don't know. It's just going crazy because I think that's what they're intending.
One might say that you are actually the compassionate one for saying, I don't think we should enable someone and allow them to live in such a lifestyle that actually makes them more predisposed to suicide and all of those other things that come with it.
Not to make light of it at all, so don't get me wrong, but if I told you I felt like I was a unicorn, and that's what I believed that I was, and I wanted to live life as a unicorn in public, if you were my real friend, you'd say, Craig, that's not going to work out well for you. You're not going to find validation and happiness and effectiveness in this world trying to be that because it's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's love. Truth is love. But it has to be delivered in the right way.
Yeah.
And just to add to that point, 20 years ago, if I were to have gone and chopped my own breasts off, they would have sent me to a loony bin. Now they just get a doctor to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you were to take a hatchet and put your hand on a wood block and just chop your hand off, they'd put you in an asylum somewhere.
They would do it today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's against the law, actually, to go out and self-mutilate your body. I mean,
well, look,
legally it is.
When I was a boy, I wanted to be Batman. I'm glad my parents didn't rush me off at 5 years old to have bat ears sewed on my head and a cape sewn around my neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, look, I mean, I had trouble when my daughter told me she was going to major in dance. I was like, that's going to be a hard future, right? And she did. I'm like, that's not a major. And that's just talking about what you chose to get as a college degree. We're not even talking about how you're going to identify for the rest of your life. And you know what? There's communities out there. If you want to be a unicorn, there are those out there who will come around you and they'll throw a parade in your honor and they'll say, Craig is so brave.
Finally.
So brave.
I feel like I have to
be me.
Move the mic every time I talk.
Why?
Because it keeps...
Oh, it keeps moving?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there we go. That's better. I don't know.
You and long cylindrical objects, I tell you, they're troublesome. It's terrible, Sarah.
Especially the black ones.
Why? Why?
I'm just going to be sitting over here minding my own business.
Yeah. Craig is nowhere near this conversation.
Well, I want to make one thing clear because we're talking about, parents doing this. I do believe in parental rights. Parental rights should obviously be respected, but there is a line in which that becomes child abuse. And I think that so often, conservatives, we're pro parental rights. Yes, but I'm not going to allow a parent to smack the crap out of their child anytime they want to because they get angry about something. The same way I'm not going to stand by and watch them sexually indoctrinate their children into a lifestyle that they are not, they are not ready for yet. It is the same thing in my book.
My wife was victimized when she was a little girl, and she has a real problem with this mind your business notion in our society. She said, if people weren't beaten into submission of minding their own business, people would have seen some of us children in that neighborhood who that babysitting family were abusing, and they would have intervened. We could have been spared if people didn't mind their own business.
That's exactly right.
She has a real problem with that. She didn't feel like that's a good thing, mind your business. I think when it comes to the little ones, when they're being harmed, we do have the responsibility to intervene.
Yeah, and families are one thing.
Do it, but
parents and family are one thing. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about complete strangers, putting them on airplanes, trafficking them off into the middle of the country, and then putting them on cars at 3 a.m. in the morning. I mean, at what point in time do we stand up? I mean, if we're not going to do it with the families that we're seeing, we're not going to do it with these strangers. Hang on, we got to go to a break. Listen, folks, life insurance, and I've told you this a million times. The life insurance you get through your workplace, I used to sell insurance there for a while. I just want to see if I could do it, and I could. And I wanted to see, Sarah, you've got a history in insurance as well.
I do.
And so I used to tell people it was a sales thing. I always reminded them. I was like, what if you lose your job?
Yep.
The insurance goes
All
away.
of your insurance is connected to your job.
Right. You get fired, you get downsized, and in this economy, you never know what's going to happen. So stop relying on that. You got to protect your family's needs. And since life insurance typically gets more expensive as you get older, now is the time to buy some. And I'm going to help you out. Policy Genius is going to give you a smarter way to find and buy the right coverage for you and your family. They're built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their technology makes it easy to compare the life insurance quotes from top companies like AIG, Prudential.
It's very easy.
You do it just a couple of clicks, and you'll get the lowest price. Now, with Policy Genius, you're going to find life insurance policies that start at just $17 a month for $500,000 worth of coverage. And Policy Genius has licensed agents who can help you find options that offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid unnecessary medical exams. They're not incentivized to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust what they're telling you. There are no added fees, and your personal info is private. It's safe. They're not going to share it. No wonder they got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Your loved ones deserve financial safety. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head to policygenius.com/Chad. Click the link in the description and get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Once again, policygenius.com/Chad. We'll be right back. All right, you got a gun coming out. And not everybody can say that.
What?
A rifle design we've been working on for 8 years. The first attempt was from another company that tried to make my design. We aired that on Gunny Time with Arlie Ermy on his show and had a lot of fun with that. Millions of people saw it, but it'll be at SHOT Show this year. It was designed to be a better sniper rifle for the special warfare community, and because it's so versatile and so reliable. It's what I needed as a SEAL Team 6 sniper. That didn't exist, and so now we've made it, and it's intended to be the most reliable fighting rifle ever.
It's coming
devised.
out. So the
It'll
SHOT
be at
Show's
SHOT
what,
Show
January or February?
January. So it'll be
Vegas,
at the Black Rain Ordnance booth this year. So
what booth will it be at?
Black Rain Ordnance.
Okay.
Stop by and check it out.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
and if you've never been to SHOT Show, go to SHOT Show. We've had a blast at SHOT Show.
So what you're saying is this is a weapon of war.
Well, it's a better bullet launcher.
Yeah.
For hunters will love it for all the same reasons. So will competition shooters and sportsmen.
That's awesome.
Is it a common round that it shoots?
We're gonna make it in every size, from 50 cal all the way down to 9 mil.
I love
Wow.
it,
So there'll be different sizes
I
of the
love it.
platform.
dude. Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years.
Well,
I'm glad.
we work with different aerospace manufacturers and rifle manufacturers
Oh my
that
goodness.
slow rolled us, and it was a long journey, but now the right people have locked on, and it's as it was intended to be.
Good.
Yeah.
That is so
Good.
cool.
Yeah, grateful for that.
Yeah, I hope to get out to SHOT this year. I didn't get to go last year.
I've
But
always
that's
wanted
always
to go.
it's always a good reunion. Good folks out there.
It'll smoke your feet, though, won't it?
Dude, it will.
Don't tell me your dogs aren't barking at the end of the day.
I rarely even get up to the actual show floor. I get stuck down in the lobby, and it's crazy all the people you run into and know and have a good time with.
Yeah, it's
so
like
I
a
can only
reunion for
imagine
me.
if you're coming out of the community, in the Spec Ops community. I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude that likes guns.
Well, that's for me. SHOT Show. I'm somebody there the way you are everywhere else. Everybody recognizes your face. Me, not so much. So when I go to SHOT Show, it's like the guys I've been in the Air Marshal Service with, Marine Corps, SEAL Team, film and television, all this. Everybody's there. So it's like my tribe.
So your website though is V4CR. Is it .org?
.org.
So you got V4C, that's Charlie, R. So .org. So go over there, check it out. And share Contraland.
Yeah. And we've got a press release on there now about all these hashtags that have been banned. What is up with that, folks? We all need to start asking some hard questions. And I talked to the Senate and Congress in the Texas Capitol building about a month ago, and I was telling them about these covert flights, and I said, hey, government officials, we're going to start rating you on a scorecard on how you're doing for the children. Are you for this grooming and harm of the children? Are you not prosecuting these predators? If so, we're gonna throw you out, put somebody in who will serve we the people's intent, and that is we just want the children protected. That's it. So
Did you get a good follow up from some Texas representatives?
Oh, yes. And I am still in conversations with them.
And they're planning on doing some stuff.
That's what they say.
It needs to be illegal in the state of Texas, this family-friendly nonsense.
Let me just tell you, they're going to get real used to seeing my face around the Capitol whenever they start session in January.
I'm with you.
They're going to get tired of seeing my face
Yeah.
until they actually follow through on this. I think they will. I'm hopeful that they will.
All right.
Senator Bob Hall's been really responsive to us, and we
Bob's a
appreciate
good man.
him. So
He's great.
Yeah, Senator
and I
Bob
got to see
Hall,
my grandpa's picture on the wall. My great grandpa was the second governor of Texas, so I got to go up. That's the first time I'd
love
seen
it.
it.
And
That's
you've
cool.
been down at the Capitol in Austin quite a bit, so doing the stuff, talking. And Senator Bob Hall, he's one of the good ones here in the state of Texas, that's for sure. So, and you know what, folks? You know what you could do? Pray for these two individuals. Pray, because they're up against it. And if you don't think the enemy wants to attack them and shut them down, I mean, we joke a lot about it and stuff, but we also understand real life, and the real stuff ain't always what you can see. So pray for them. All right, guys, for years you've heard me talk about iTarget, and if you have one, I'm going to take you to the next level. If not, this new product's something you need to get. Have you ever seen competitive shooters practice timing drills on the range? Imagine being able to do that at home anytime you want and never spend a dime on ammo. That's what all the new the iTarget Cube does. The iTarget Cube is fully compatible with your existing laser bullet. I just like saying that. You can buy one or upgrade to the 3-pack for a truly unique training experience. Complete package is what you got in the Cube, and you can compete with friends and practice clearing drills or use random mode to test your ability to react, all the while the system times every shot you take. Now, right now, get you 10% off, plus free shipping with offer code CHAD. I spell it Chad when you go to itargetpro.com. iTarget's going to come in most of the calibers you already own, from 9mm to .223, so you can train with almost any firearm you own, maybe even Craig's one day. Who knows? This is the easiest and most cost-effective way to train, and it pays for itself in a single day. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. itargetpro.com. Use offer code Chad, and we'll be right back. All right, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, I'm going to be in Lindale, Texas, over at Brisket Love. I'm bringing the Ragamuffins with me. We're going to have some fun over there. Some unique. I don't know that I've ever done a show on Tuesday night.
I don't.
But they want to do it, and we said we'd come over there. So watchchad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Got all the info you need to come over there. And there's plenty of room there, so you can just come to the door and come on in. That's a big old spot. Then, of course, this Friday night, I will be in Everett, Washington, up there with the commies. And get your tickets. I go every year. I fly into Seattle and go up to Everett, and that's where Glenn Beck was born, right there, the land of Beck. And we're going to be at the historic Everett Theater, and then following week, I'm going to be in Greensboro, North Carolina, doing 4 shows in 2 nights on November 4th and 5th. So come over there, get your tickets now. Going to be at the Comedy Zone. Do not miss it. Come hang out with us. And then more and more stuff. As we close out the year, again, watchchad.com has the information. Sara Gonzales Unfiltered on YouTube is where you need to go. You can shop with her at shopsarag.com, as well as AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. And did I get it right?
You did.
All right. V4CR.org is where you can support Craig Sawman Sawyer. God bless you, brother. Appreciate you.
You too.
And we'll be back with you tomorrow night. It's Tuesday, which is Monday's hangover, and we'll see you there. We love you. God bless you. Bye.